All right, so I'm on the phone with Chris and Shauna, the other musicians that reached out about the interview sessions. So I'm going to go ahead and give them the chance to introduce themselves.
My name is Chris Thompson. I'm originally from Indiana, actually, and music. I've kind of always been very interested in music, been a big fan of rock music in particular, but it wasn't until I was I don't know, maybe 10 years old or something, where my dad said something like, I can just tell you music is one of the most important things in your life. And I didn't even really think about it up to that point. And then as soon as he said that, I was like, he probably is right about that. Because I just noticed things about it. I would hear stuff on the radio, just really just the details about it. So I became fascinated with just music in general since then. I've been big into music theory, writing, being in bands, things like that. So when my first band was in middle school and high school, Indiana, and then I kind of actually didn't do a lot of. I play guitar is the main thing. I have a background. I played trumpet growing up as well, and then the tuba. I have a drum set, bass, guitar, things like that, and piano. But I'm mostly a guitarist now. I was a singer in the band, but I wouldn't say I'm a great singer. But that was just kind of I was the lead singer just because I was the one who decided to try it out. But there was a time there after high school where it wasn't really I wasn't performing as much. I wasn't playing with people. I kind of had no reason to as much. The band split apart because we were in different places in the country, and but it was recently 4 years ago. I met some people online, and we started doing some cover songs through the internet, and then eventually decided to do our own original music. So that's the reason I kind of got back into it. I started practicing more than ever. Probably got better at the guitar than I was ever before, and just thinking about it and just just doing things relating to it all the time. And now, just recently decided to start trying to do bands in person here in Minnesota in the last 8 months or so. So I've kind of gotten back into it.
Awesome. And so, Shauna, same question. Give yourself an introduction and a little bit of your background.
Hi, I'm Shauna Thomsen. So my parents were really valued music. My dad was brought up playing the violin and told my sister and me, you have to do piano lessons. And we started at age 6. Um, and he was thinking, well, I don't want to be a hypocrite, so I should show that I'm interested in music as well, and I'm going to practice. So he joined orchestra. So I've been going to orchestra concerts all my life, was in piano lessons from age 6 until like 8 or 16. And I really was interested. I went to an art festival and saw a harpist and begged my parents for a harp for a few years. And from age 7 to 10, finally they took me seriously and they bought me a harp. I had the Minnesota Orchestra harpist was my teacher from age 10 till 18, and I was in competitions, traveled the world with my choir in high school and college. And now I'm trying to get more into it, but weddings and things like that. And then I also sang in the choir.
Awesome. Very cool. I haven't had the chance to speak to too many people that are doing like the wedding circuit, so that's very interesting. Usually what I do with these interviews is I kind of touch base about the details of how you got into music. Each of you kind of expressed what it was that kind of impelled you into it. So why don't you kind of each take a turn kind of going over what you kind of expected to get out of music once you did start doing it?
Okay. I guess I'll start. Well, when I first started in bands, I really wanted to play shows. I wanted to, I don't know if I really wanted to write music at first, but I just liked the idea of playing a show, having an audience, and having them see us all do what we worked on. We worked on it together. It was a lot easier, I think, in a band setting than just as a solo act. I feel like I might have been nervous, but it was just really fun to have friends and actually become friends with new members of this band. And then we just had fun practicing. We had fun playing shows, and it was just I don't know, it was just a really fun environment. We got to know other bands. I don't know, it just felt like a really cool thing to be doing. It was a hobby, but also just a way to kind of feel like I was, I didn't like play varsity sports or anything. It was kind of like I was involved in this, and it was another way to almost be a rock star in a smaller sense too. But also it was just a way to do something I really loved and feel accomplishments from it. Um, so yeah, but I also just love doing music, even if I'm just doing it alone. So I mean, it's a combination of all those things, which is really what's fun about it to
I would say for me, it's a form of expression that you just can't get with words, right? So, I mean, literally, if I hit all of the dynamics and I'm really, really into it and expressing myself, I will bring myself to tears, especially on the harp. Um, I don't know. There's just this like sense of peace that I get when I'm playing music that I guess I just don't get anywhere else.
Okay, that's fair. So based upon the difference in your answers, Chris, you kind of mentioned that one of the things you get out of music is the feeling of working with others. Shauna, you kind of expressed that what you get out of music is the feeling of working by yourself and how you're able to move yourself emotively. How do you guys kind of find a middle ground there? Since you are in a relationship
Yes,
where
absolutely.
me. Well, I've been wanting for years to work with her on music, and it's just kind of she expressed interest, but we never actually get around to doing it very often. We've done it. It's funny. When she was living at her parents' house before we got married, she wrote these little songs.
I didn't write. I just things come into my head and I just sing them. And I never put notes to them. I never think of them as music. I just sing them every day.
And she was just singing to her dog. Basically, she made little songs about her dog. And I was like, why don't we turn this into a little album? Like, just let's record. And they never had any instruments under them or anything before that. But I was like, why don't I record some drums, guitar, bass? You play the piano and you sing on these little songs. And then so that was me like finally getting us to work together on something. Whereas I think you're right. She kind of treats it as I'm just playing music. Like that's just her thing on her own usually. And we're living in a house together. We have all our instruments here. I feel like it'd be easy to do. Now we have a kid, so it's not as easy, but it's something I want to do eventually is whether we do covers or write music together. I think it'd be really fun to do. But again, I don't know if you're as into that. Maybe you are, but
I think I would much rather quit my day job and do music full time, but
right. But with me or alone or both?
Yeah, that was really fun. I think I do kind of the individual stuff where I make my music, and then he's kind of pulled it out of me where we can express it and share it with other people. Everyone loves the recordings we've done.
Yeah. We have
great.
that. And then she plays with her dad too. So he plays the violin. She'll play the harp, like kind of the rhythm part, and he'll play the melody over it sometimes.
Yeah, we made a CD.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
He helped CD she made. Yeah.
Okay, so you also both kind of touch base on kind of what you're working on now, but go into a little bit more detail. Chris, what are your projects? You mentioned that you've been working with a band. Give me some detail about that. Shauna, you mentioned that you're looking to do some like gigging. Give me some detail about that as well.
Okay, I'll start. So I'd say I technically have 3 bands on like Spotify and stuff right now because the one was from high school. We had 1 album. That band isn't active anymore, but we have that out there. The band that I talked about online, we've been together for 4 years. I've still never met. I hadn't met either of these guys until this year. I met one of them, but we work pretty well together. It's called Silver and Cold Sorrow. I can send you the link or whatever after this, but. We started as a cover band, like I said, but then we started writing our own music. It takes a while because it's through the internet, and also the singer, he's our producer and he's a perfectionist, so he spends hundreds of hours on the mixing and stuff like that. So it takes a long time, but we still every once in a while we'll work on stuff together. It's very not hit or miss, hot or cold, I think is the right word, because we have to get inspired to start working on stuff again. And when we do, he takes a long time on the production side. So, and also his singing, he has to do like layers on layers and takes on takes. So because of that and how long it would take, and yeah, it was great. But I wanted to do some more, like I said, I wanted to do stuff in person here. So I think is this the how I met you? It was through the Twin Cities band seeking musician thing, or is that a different one that I met you on? The Facebook group.
On the ad that I posted,
Yeah, where was that? I think it was.
it could have been anywhere. When I put a call out for
Oh,
artists for these interviews, I do a bit of targeting, but I always include the Twin Cities because I'm from the Twin Cities, so I just would
right.
like to represent it.
Yeah, so I'm on a couple of Facebook groups now that I joined last spring, and I don't know if it's the same one that I talked to you on, but one of them is for finding band members. And I went on there in the springtime, met or saw a posting for somebody who wanted to start a band. It was just a cover band. We tried for a few months, but then most of the members um, had other bands that were taking off more. So we didn't make any gigs or anything. We just practiced every week or so, and it was fun. I tried dabbling into different instruments. I played harmonica on one song, trumpet on another song, keyboard on another one, but mostly guitar. So I was kind of like the one who would jump around, whereas everyone else kind of had their instrument. Um, and then after that, as soon as that ended, the drummer and I were the two left. Basically, we were the two that were like still not. We basically didn't quit. The other two guys quit because they had other bands. They were doing shows already, and I was like, hey, you want to work together, try to find something else instead of just continuing this idea someone else had, basically. So I went on that same page, found not an old post, but maybe like a month or two old post on there saying this lady had a band that she had before. They had a whole album of original music. They used to play shows the last couple years, but she needed a new lineup basically. And so I listened to the music and I liked it, and I messaged her, and so then ever since I think it was August or so, we've been playing it was the drummer from the old band and I, along with this singer, and then we get recruited a guitar player. We are looking for a bass player still, but even without that, I think we could be pretty much ready to play some shows in a couple months here. And what's nice about that is the singer obviously has experience under this same band name, booking gigs. Also, the drummer in our band has done this quite a bit here. In Minnesota, I haven't done any gigging. I did some in Indiana, but it'll be nice to try that again here. And it's been quite a while since I've done it, but I'm excited to try it. And then, so that band is called the Scarlet Tangerines. And they have music out there on Spotify and Apple and all that. I'm not on the recordings, but that's out there. And I've learned the music by ear, basically. And then I also will tab out the other guitar part and send that to the other guitar player to show him, hey, I think you play this and I'll play this. So yeah, that's what I'm working on now, is that band mostly, whereas while the online band, again, it's kind of every once in a while. But the singer will come into town. He's coming to town twice this year already. And when he's in town, I have two local friends here that'll play with us. So I have a drummer who's actually in the Minnesota Orchestra. So he plays the timpani, and he's a very, very good drummer. He plays drums with us when the other guy shows up in town. And then I have a guitar player friend who joins us as well. But again, it's very inactive. It's like we have one practice every 5 months or so, just because of the nature of the band. Still haven't met the bass player in person. But the idea is, even if we're not that prepared, just try to book a show sometime this next year, and maybe I have both bands play together or something. But either way, I'll have at least one of those bands. Hopefully, if things go well, just booking some shows and getting out there like that same band used to do. So.
Sure, awesome. And Shauna, what sort of gigs and stuff are you doing and trying to book for yourself?
You know, I've done I think I've done like 5 or 6 weddings, and one was last year, but it's all been word of mouth. And at the last wedding I did, it was for my sister, and the people that were helping her with the wedding planning, the planners, they came up to me and they said, just give us a poster, write down how much you charge. And I found out I charge a lot less than what they would normally go for. And so they said, you'd be really good for this. They were really impressed with me. And then I just never followed through. It's probably something that I kind of keep getting reminded of every time I go to a wedding or think about my harp that's in the living room. And I just have not gotten around to it's kind of intimidating because you look at, the people with these websites that it seems like they already are like, they have it all established, the website and the clientele. I have the music and the repertoire, and I play with my dad, and I sing, and he plays the violin with me at these. So I mean, we're really good, and we have all the music prepared. We just haven't looked for the clients, I guess.
The marketing.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine there's far more weddings than there are people playing harps at weddings.
Oh my gosh, I know, and I think a lot of people. I went to one of my friends' weddings and I said, oh shoot, you hired a harpist. And she said, well, I didn't know you played the harp, so it's even word of mouth there. And I think a lot of people would hire if somebody with my price point went out there or, if they knew about me. It's just a matter of getting the word of mouth out there. Because, yeah, there's definitely not a lot of competition. In fact, my harp teacher doesn't teach harp anymore. And there's, I think, just one, and it's all the way at McPhail, so there's no one in this area. I did have a friend reaching out and asking if I would be willing to teach harp, so that's another alley I might begin soon.
Awesome. So why don't you each take a turn sharing a memory of, a really impactful moment you had with music, something that, either made a dent in you or something that, was motivational to keep you involved in it.
Go first.
So I have two. One is with singing and one is with harp. So with singing, I went to Israel in 2019 with the Birthright trip, and I was with just a bunch of people in this temple, and it was very echoey in there, and I love when there's an echo. And so I just started singing a Shalom song that I had learned in college, and it was just so impactful. It was so moving, and they had me sing it again later in front of everybody. And so it's little moments that are impromptu like that that really have made the most impact on me. And then I would say with the harp, I got to travel to Norway, Sweden, and Denmark with I guess that was singing. I got to travel to California, Washington, and Oregon with the choir, and they had me bring my harp. So it was scary because it was in the back of a bus and it was knocking back and forth. And I was trying to strap it on, but it was so worth it. Just running to the back and tuning my harp, having a few minutes to do that because you have to do each string individually. But just some of those just like crazy moments that it just seems so stressful, but then when you get on that stage and you just are performing, it's just all so worth it. And you just see the people and you can just feel the energy in the audience as they watch you.
Yeah, that's a couple great opportunities. All right, Chris, what do you got?
Mine aren't nearly as cool as that, but I guess for me, it's about writing and putting stuff out there. So the most recent thing that I think was really great is that online band. We spent so long on these. It's only a 4-song EP. It just took so long, so much rewriting and reworking. And then when that day we finally released it, that was last summer. It was, and I had an album before, but this one I think we spent a lot more time on it. It sounded more professional. I thought it sounded like something that could be on the radio or something like that. So I just really was excited about it. And the other two members of my band were a lot better at promoting it. They had like, quite an Instagram and YouTube following, just seeing all the reactions that we got for it. And it was short lived and it wasn't that big of a thing, but it was just, I hadn't experienced it quite that. And then to not even have it like the people I know or see in person, it was all online. It was really just kind of cool. And then, so that was the most recent thing. And yeah, just the fact that I got to help write those songs. And in high school, when I wrote songs, I usually did it alone and my band would play my songs. This was more of we bounce ideas off each other, we make it better. even if at the time I'm fighting an idea that changes something, I realize later, okay, that actually did help it. So just that, just seeing it, the end result there.
Okay.
I think
S-
that's the most recent thing. Yeah.
okay, sure. So where can people find, your project, your online stuff that you're putting out, and then anything else you've done? And then, Shauna, if anybody wants to book you for a wedding, where can they find you?
Yeah, her wedding thing is in the works, I think, because no website or anything yet. But we can just, how do we contact Shauna? Do we get your phone number out there? I don't think so, right?
Probably by email or something.
Email, maybe. Yeah, like your throwaway email that
for
don't
my
get spammed.
CDs
Yeah.
and for my
Oh, yeah, she has
Yeah.
CDs too.
for my harp.
Or just your main
Yeah.
email. You want to put that out there or no?
Yeah.
So what is your main email, Shauna?
Are we supposed to give our email right now out loud?
If you just want to send it to me, I can make sure that it gets tagged and everything. So
I can send you all of it, yeah.
yeah, okay.
But yeah, so I have some bands out there. I guess I'll only promote the one because I'm not technically in the recordings on one of them. And the other one's old and not that great. So yeah, I'll give you that link. It's just Silver and Cold Sorrow. It's kind of a alternative, kind of somewhat punk, somewhat I don't know. I don't know what you call it. It combines different elements, a little bit modern take on those genres. But I'll send you that. And then, like I said, probably some shows booking soon with the Scarlet Tangerines here in Minnesota, mostly around the Twin Cities area. So
Awesome.
I can send you that link to the other thing, though.
Yeah. Just make sure to send them to me, and I can get them tagged and everything. So I always like to give the people that I interview the opportunity to put out their last word. So a message that you believe in that you want to throw out there.
Oh, Shauna's not in the room, but are you coming in?
Yeah.
Okay. Repeat that one for her.
Basically, just a message that you believe in that you want to put out there.
A message I believe in that I want to put out there. That's tough. Do you have something?
I think that kind of what I've gathered with all of my answers is that music is an avenue for self-expression, be it for yourself or it can be for an audience or a way of community and socializing with others. Like there's just so many avenues that you can take music to.
Mm-hmm. I'll expand on her idea because it makes me think of when I was visiting a friend in Germany a while ago. He had us staying at his house. His dad didn't speak English and I didn't speak German, so we had no way of interacting with each other. But I got them a Beatles book as a gift, just assuming they were Beatles fans because they were about the right age. They lived in Germany, which was big into the Beatles back then. He was so, like, you could see how animated he was, just how excited. He went over to his wall, pointed at a Beatles thing on the wall, and he was just like really into it. So just that interaction of it like bypassed language barriers, things like that. Just how it like unites people, I guess, too. Kind of like what she said. For me, music is. I think both Shauna and I we're musical, but we're also kind of analytical because she's an accountant. I'm an IT guy. I grew up pretty good at math as well. So I like to think of music in both a creative and kind of a mathematical way. I like to think about it in music theory terms. I really like I nerd out about just like what makes a song unique. But I also I know that most of it is just you do what sounds right to you or inspires you, but at the same time it's just really fun to think about it in terms of why is this cool. So that's why I really just like to think about it in both ways, and it fits with kind of just how I think about the world. I don't know. I like to listen to music, talk about it, but I also spend a lot of time analyzing it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.